Santiago, Chile. A trade pact originally conceived by the United States to counter China's growing economic might and Asia now has a new target: President Trump's embrace of protectionism. A group of 11 nations, including major United States allies like Japan, Canada and Australia, signed a broad trade deal on Thursday in Chile's capital, Santiago, that challenges Mr. Trump's view of trade as a zero-sum game filled with winners and losers. Covering 500 million people on either side of the Pacific Ocean. The pact represents a new vision for global trade as the United States imposes steel and aluminum tariffs on even some of its closest friends. Mr. Trump withdrew the United States from an earlier version of the agreement, then known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a year ago as one of his first acts in office. The resuscitated deal is undeniably weaker without the participation of the world's biggest economy, but it serves as a powerful sign of how countries that have previously counted on American leadership are now forging ahead without it. Globally, there has been an increasing level of uncertainty, given the adoption of policies and measures by some key players that question the principles that have contributed to generating prosperity for our peoples, President Michelle Bachelet of Chile said in a speech shortly before the pact was signed. We need to stay on the course of globalization, yet learning from our past mistakes. In its original incarnation as a TPP, the accord was conceived as a counterweight to China, whose vast economy was drawing other Asian countries closer despite its state-driven model and steep trade barriers. Not only does the pact lower trade barriers, it could also prod Beijing to make changes to enjoy the same benefits. When President Obama was advocating the deal, he said that America should call the shots instead of China. Now, signatories are opening the door for China to join. Geraldo Muñoz, Chile's foreign minister, told reporters on Thursday afternoon that Chinese officials had been weighing the possibility of signing on. This will be open to anyone who accepts its components, Mr. Muñoz said. It's not an agreement against anyone. It's in favor of open trade. On Thursday, Mr. Trump went in the opposite direction, announcing tariffs on steel and aluminum imports to the United States. He said that Canada and Mexico were being exempted for now, and that allies like Australia can later be excluded. His order could affect Brazil, China, Germany, Japan, South Korea, and Turkey, though he said he would have leeway to add or take countries off the list as he sees fit. The United States has gone from being a leader to actually being the #1 antagonist and #1 source of fear on trade, said Jeffrey Wilson, the head of research at Perth US Asia Center at the University of Western Australia. If you're a trade policymaker in Asia, your #1 fear is that Trump is going to take a swing at you. He added that such fears could prompt countries, however reluctantly, to tether themselves more closely to China. The US is really delivering the region to China at the moment, Mr. Wilson said. The new agreement, known as the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, drops tariffs drastically and establishes sweeping new trade rules in markets that represent about 1/7 of the world's economy. It opens more markets to free trade in agricultural products and digital services around the region. While American beef faces 38.5% tariffs in Japan, for example, beef from Australia, New Zealand and Canada will not. Once it goes into effect, the agreement is expected to generate an additional $147 billion in global income, according to an analysis by the Peterson Institute for International Economics. Its backers say it also bolsters protections for intellectual property and includes language that could prod members to improve labor conditions. Other members include Mexico, Vietnam, New Zealand, Chile, Malaysia, Peru, Singapore, and Brunei. The deal will go into effect as soon as the legislative bodies of at least 3 signers ratify it. How long that will take is unclear. China, which has discussed forming its own regional trade pact, has been more positive about the new deal since the United States pulled out. It sent a high-level delegation a year ago to Vina del Mar, Chile, where the pact's members sought to regroup after the United States withdrawal. Experts said China could feel the pull if still more countries joined. The pact is also built around fostering trade in sophisticated manufactured goods and high-tech products, and China now produces many of those in abundance. It's hard to ignore rules that everyone else is agreeing to, and they will probably look carefully at these rules, said Wendy Cutler, a former United States trade negotiator who worked on the Trans-Pacific Partnership and is now managing director of the Washington